What is up, friend and fellow anti-netter? As I'm driving right now, what the hell is going on? There's this old man. Should I honk at these kids? Dang it, I'm holding my phone so I can't honk at these kids. But there's this just elderly gentleman, not old man. Okay, that's disrespectful, Scotty. Okay, there's this elderly gentleman, painfully, excruciatingly, pedaling his bike up the hill that I'm driving. And then, right when I started talking to you, there was this band of hooligan teenagers on their, little motorized bikes, which has become a fashionable thing down in, Southern California. Little punks. And, by the way, I secretly probably would be riding one if I was their age. Anyway, I'm driving to my office right now, and this is a very rare occasion as of late. It's a Saturday, and my beautiful, lovely, entrepreneurial girlfriend has an awesome gig that she picked up on the weekends. And, I really wasn't doing anything today, and it's before a week-long July 4th vacation, so, you're going to be getting this on a delayed basis by the time that you are listening to this. And therefore, I decided to go into the office, and I'm going to review some essentially upsell pages, which an upsell page is basically what a buyer is presented with, the page that they're presented with after they purchase one of your products. And usually one of the products that they purchase is what you call a tripwire product, something that, gets the user or the visitor to actually purchase, right? And for me, my tripwire product, my main one right now, is the Antinet Zettelkasten book, which is available at antinet.org/special-offer, so you can see what it looks like. And what happens is, after the user purchases my book, they are then presented with the option to get a free 30-day trial to my physical monthly newsletter. Okay? Well, I'm going to be introducing another upsell after this process. And I have a list of other successful upsell pages that I'm going to review today and go into it. However, the reason that I wanted to start this podcast today and really get this thing going is to share a concept called the Jib Jab Punch concept. You see, one of the best benefits of having a physical monthly newsletter, a paid physical monthly newsletter, is that every single month you are essentially doing a product launch. Every single month you have a deadline. My deadline is the end of the month. People, have until the end of the month to subscribe if they want to get the upcoming month's issue of the Scott Schepper letter. So what ends up happening, here's the crazy part, okay? This is just human nature. I was looking at my stats today, and literally 33% or 1/3 of all of my subscribers, new subscribers, come from the last 2 days of the month, the 2 days right before the deadline. And I wish it weren't the case. I wish I didn't have to do, scarcity deadline tactics and say, you only have 2 days left. But it's absolutely true, right? If they want to get my upcoming physical monthly newsletter, there are only 2 days left before, we print it, ship it out. And so we need to have this active subscribers list by, the midnight at the end of the month, so that the very next day, we send out the list and the mailing addresses to my printing provider so that she can basically compile the newsletter list and, send it out and mail it out. Now, what's kind of crazy is that, I would think that people would, I send out weekly emails and, I talk about my newsletter all the time. So I would think that people would be like, you know what, I'll just sign up, right? But the fact is that most people are only prompted to take action, or not most people, but at least 1/3 of my people are only prompted to take action if there's a deadline. And so the last 2 days of every single month, I send out emails, deadline emails saying, hey, you have only 2 days left, and all of that, right? Now, I think that one of the reasons that this works is because I grease the wheels and send out, the entire month before then, emails to my email list, and I give them free value, meaning I, have my podcast here summarized and shared with basically show notes created, and then I share value with them, every Monday and Wednesday. And what this is called, this model I'm talking about, I call it the Jib Jab Punch model. And I believe Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a book called Jib Jab Punch, and it's been on my shelf for it feels like at least 8 years. I've purchased the book, I haven't read it. So, being that I've purchased it and sits on my shelf, I basically feel like I've read it. And the reason is because I think the title kind of says it all. And what this means is what you want to do on a monthly basis is something called the Jib Jab Punch model, okay, at least for the newsletter. And this is something I'll go into detail in my transformative course where I show people how to make 6 figures writing one thing a month, right? And this Jib Jab Punch model is basically the model I use every single month in order to grow my email subscriber list. And there's a jib part of it, there's a jab part of it, and then there's a punch part of it. And it just is recurring, and it happens over and over and over again. And the best part is that because you do the jib jab, and part of the masculine phraseology for this, but it just works, right? You're basically the boxing, expression, jib jab punch, and that's the model that I follow. And it is something that is super valuable, and also one of the reasons I recommend having a physical monthly newsletter. And it just allows you on a regular basis, the physical monthly newsletter, not only to kind of get grounded and get in touch with your people and deliver value every month via the newsletter, but allows you to actually practice the fundamentals of marketing, and that is a product launch. And it all revolves around a Jib Jab Punch framework. And it's taken me a while, but I finally figured it out. And you've seen it evolve if you've listened to me and watched me and observed me over the past 6 months. Is initially my Jib Jab was taking so much mind energy that I was taking energy away from me actually writing my physical monthly newsletter. And so I've basically figured out how to not only make the Jib Jab easier, and I know it's still vague what the Jib Jab is, but that's basically what Right to Freedom is all about, and that's what I teach, right? Is the Jib Jab part of the model, which you can kind of figure out, is something that is takes a lot less mind energy from me these days, which is amazing. And then the punch part of the model is also automated, and it allows me complete and utter freedom every single month to do an automated product launch, essentially, without having to do much at all. That way I can allocate my mind energy, my attention, to actually working on new things, right? Like working on new editions, new issues of the Scott Shepherd letter, and then working on, transformative products and doing research and spending my, days and doing what I love. So anyway, I want to introduce that framework to you and that model to you and share that with you. And hopefully that gives you an idea, what you always want to do. You don't want to just sell people constantly. What you want to do is deliver value, is you want to give them free value, and you want to carry out on a monthly basis, essentially a product launch in this whole model, which I, essentially detail. I can't get into it right now. There's it's literally, I would need to back up with fundamentals and stuff, of what I'm even talking about. But yeah, I feel like this sucks because I feel like I'm being vague to you, right now on what I'm even talking about, but I think you get it. What you want to do is, if you have a physical monthly newsletter, right, is you want to introduce a model where you're delivering value, the jib jabs, and then you're delivering a punch. And that's essentially it. So this is a little advanced. Like, if you don't have an email list, if you don't have an email magnet, if you don't have, basically a squeeze page built out, then ignore this. Also, if you have not undertaken a 30-day publishing challenge, like publishing something, which I won't get into the details on that, but that's been a life changer. If you go through a publishing challenge, and I have a whole philosophy about doing that, about finding your voice and publishing content regularly. One of my proteges and, who works for me, I call him Lil Anti-Nut, Nicholas Gassien, and AKA Nicky G, I also call him. He has embarked upon his own 30-day publishing challenge recently, and his YouTube channel has freaking exploded. In doing this, he's been able to find his niche, not really find a niche, develop a niche, and you'll know what I mean if you read issue number 7. But he's been able to essentially develop a niche through his daily publishing challenge, which is exactly how I developed my own niche. So anyway, that's a little taste. There's a lot of things I talk about, and if you are a reader of the Scott Shepherd letter, you kind of like, there's this second order operation going on whenever you listen to me, because you already know the frameworks that you've been taught and that I'm talking about and that I touch on and that I allude to. And the Jib Jab Punch framework is yet another one, and I'll be going deep into that at some point. Maybe in the Scott Shepherd letter, definitely in Right to Freedom, in some way, shape, or form in that. And yeah, that's just something to keep in mind and something at top of mind, because right now, today is, the day after the end of the month, and I've just seen a flurry of new subscribers just pour in. Like 33% of new subscribers came in like the last 2 days, and it's because of the Jib Jab Punch model. So anyway, hope that helps, and hope you get something out of this. As always, peace and love, and stay crispy, my friend.